Abortion activists are pushing to get unfettered access to abortion on the 2024 ballot here in Florida. Find out more about this dangerous attempt and what you can do to stop it today on Florida Focus.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Florida Focus, where politics, culture, and a biblical worldview collide. I'm Aaron DiPietro, sitting down with my friend and colleague, Noah Fay, and we're here to talk about the abortion amendment that is being pushed across here in the state of Florida. We've heard the mantra all for the past 20 or 30 years, safe, rare, and legal, the mantra by the pro-abortion industry. Unfortunately, as time has shown, that is anything but the truth, as the abortion industry has continued to push a radical abortion on demand agenda that is going to every corner of this nation, including here in the state of Florida. I know, Noah, there was one incident that recently came up that was just showed the radical, depravity of the abortion industry. Talk about that a little bit before we dive into the details of the amendment.
And that's a great point. There was a cake, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it floating around on social media, where it said it's aborted. And then the image on the cake was a graphic of a woman throwing a baby into a basketball hoop. And that was what they posted all over social media. It's gone kind of viral. And this just goes to show it is no longer about the health and safety of the mother. It is about, I want to do with my body whatever I want, and you can't tell me otherwise. And not only that, but I'm going to celebrate killing a human life, and I'm going to be celebrated for it. And that's just where we're at with abortion in America.
So kind of looking at the main stories right now is kind of where we are in Florida regarding the state of abortion legislation. So in the state of Florida currently, abortion is banned after 15 weeks gestation here in the state of Florida, all the way up to pregnancy. There's an exception for the mother's harm to a threat to a mother's life, or serious damage and harm to a bodily major function. Currently, right now, the legislature just passed in this last legislative session the Heartbeat Protection Act, which moves the protections back to 6 weeks gestation age, protecting babies after a detectable heartbeat is present. This legislation is pending before the state Supreme Court. We should be able to get a final ruling, Lord willing, within the next few months, where our Florida State Supreme Court, which is one of the most conservative state Supreme Courts and appellate courts in the entire nation, is set to rule on this issue. So we're excited to see where we go. But all of that is at risk. Noah, kind of dive us into what's the big threat coming on the horizon against pro-life protections here in the state of Florida.
Yeah, so that's that big abortion amendment that's kind of going around right now. So first, I wanted to talk to you about the broad language surrounding the abortion amendment and kind of the implications and risks that come along with the broad language that they're using.
Yeah, so I'll kind of just read kind of the synopsis, the bill summary that's going to be on the ballot. So, which the abortion amendment is amendment to limit government interference with abortion. The ballot summary says no law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health as determined by the patient's healthcare provider. This amendment does not change the legislature's constitutional authority to require notification to a parent or guardian before a minor has an abortion. Seemingly straightforward language. The problem is there's extremely dangerous details in the broad language. Noah, kind of let's dive into some of those if we can here.
Yeah, so one of the things they talk about is viability of the baby, but then on the other hand, they talk about health care of the mother, and they don't actually define what health care means. That means if you are feeling nauseous, if you're having cramps, if you got dizzy that day, the abortion doctor who has an economic interest in performing the abortion will then determine if that health reason for the abortion is valid. So that seems kind of skewed to me. It's like, if there's a political interest for you're on trial, and your judge has an interest to find you guilty. Does that seem fair to you? Right. It's very dangerous. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think that's absolutely right. And to your point, so the whole term viability is very misleading as it is, because viability is based on the technology that you have. So the better technology you have, the more earlier viability is pushed. And the Supreme Court recently in the Dobbs case realized how messed up the whole viability standard was and how there was no real foundation or basis for it. So they put that to the side in favor of allowing the states to be able to protect human life as they saw fit. So the viability standard is already a shaky standard as is. And the unique thing about the language, though, to your point, is it's deceptively worded. So it's almost they're trying to make it appear that, oh, we're letting, abortion be regulated after like maybe 24 or 25 weeks or so. But to your point, when you throw in the health exception, you technically could have an exception if you find an abortion doctor who, again, has that financial interest in killing the baby. Anything could go in terms of allowing access to abortion. So you could technically, in the state of Florida, this amendment could be used to allow unfettered abortion on demand all the way up until the moment of birth, if it's in the health of the mother. And again, the term health is not defined here in the bill. So I think that's a legitimate concern that we have to be worried about.
Yeah. So what is this negating in terms of health and safety in regards to the abortion on demand system they're trying to set up?
Yeah. So this would gut all parental rights consent legislation here in the state of Florida, where a minor has to get the parent's consent to get an abortion. It would gut hospital admitting privileges to make sure that when an abortion doctor is performing abortion on the woman and things go wrong, which does happen quite a bit, that the doctor would then have the ability to have hospital admitting privileges to get in there to be able to help treat the woman and her, the injuries and the internal bleeding and such that many times happens. The problem is most hospitals want nothing to do with abortion doctors. And in many times, many of these abortion doctors are really doctors that have failed in other areas of medicine. So they have no hospital admitting privileges. So sometimes you'll have a woman that shows up to a hospital literally bleeding to death internally, and the doctors there don't know what happened because the abortion doctor is nowhere to be seen. So it will gut that. It will gut the 24-hour waiting period bill, which gives the woman time to reflect and consider what she's doing in terms of the abortion. It will gut the ultrasound requirements, so for the woman to see the baby and within her womb and such. So it's so many different protections for the health and safety of a woman, of the woman, and also the protections for the unborn that are going to be just absolutely gutted if this amendment takes effect.
Yeah, and you and I know from a pro-life aspect that the moment the mother sees the baby on the ultrasound, I mean, a lot of mothers will still ignore it, but most mothers will know the moment they see that on the screen, that's a life in there. That's my baby,
I think it's near 80% of women will change their mind. Abortion-minded women will change their mind when seeing an ultrasound of their baby.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
So what nefarious forces are at play here for this push for unfettered access to abortion? Who's pushing this whole thing right now?
Yeah. So really, it's the two main groups behind this are the two of the groups that have the most financial gain in this. It's Planned Parenthood, several divisions in Southeast Florida and Southwest Florida, and also the ACLU, which is the American Center for or Civil Liberties Union, which basically is doing anything in their mission but protecting civil liberties in the United States. And really just that both of these organizations have become radical centers for radical leftist policy and the advocacy for on-demand abortion up till the moment of birth across the nation. So they're pouring millions and millions of dollars into this, and understandably so, because especially Planned Parenthood has a lot to lose if this amendment fails. There's a lot of dollars that they will lose, that will be off the table for them if they're not able to continue the abortion industry here in the state of Florida with abortion on demand.
Yeah, yet again, so an economic interest in the abortion.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that they're one of the main drivers of this amendment.
And the weird thing is, Noah, the Floridians have spoken loudly, both in terms of the election of our, governor by almost 20 points, who is one of the most pro-life governors we've had in the state of Florida. And also, I know once reference the recent polling that just came out on where Floridians stand on abortion here in the state of Florida.
Yeah, so Florida Family Policy Council, we teamed up with the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America, and we did a poll, and it showed 62% of Floridians support legislation to protect unborn babies when the heartbeat is detected, providing exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. So you can see that the will of the people is being done with the 6-week heartbeat bill that's about to be in place. And by trying to overturn all of the protections for babies, this is not in the interest of Florida people. This is in the interest of the healthcare, quote unquote, or the abortion provider. It doesn't reflect the will of the people at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So Good.
I was going to say we talked about what we can do to stop this beforehand. I think that'd be really helpful for people to know. What can we do to stop this amendment from going through?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. So there's several steps. First of all, watch out for the abortion amendment petition that's been going around. That they still have to get, several million petitions to be able to get on the ballot and to qualify. They have to go through the Supreme Court vetting once they hit a certain threshold. So just watch out for the amendment. Do not sign the petition initiative that's going around. A lot of the activists that are pushing it are trying to, either put it under different guise or, false pretenses, or even linking it to other petition collectors that are doing completely unrelated petition drives. So watch out for that. Do not sign it. Warn your family and friends about signing this very dangerous and harmful amendment petition. And also stay tuned to sign up at flfamily.org for our email alerts. We'll keep you posted on what's going on moving forward and ways that you can be able to join the fight against this dangerous abortion on demand legislation, legalizing abortion up to the moment of birth. And also sign up on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Follow us on YouTube and Rumble as well. And we'll keep you posting, updates on there on how to join this fight, as well as we'll talk about this probably on future Florida Focus episodes as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great insight, Aaron. And this has been really great sitting down and just kind of bringing this to light. I feel like a lot of people have heard about it, but haven't gone in depth on it. So it's great to be able to sit down and really bring the darkness into the light, so to speak. So,
yeah. Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you all for joining us. Join us next week on Florida Focus as we again tackle another issue here facing the politics, culture, and from a biblical worldview perspective here in the state of Florida. Thank you so much.
Thanks.